About Time with Rashawn's About Time Boxing, aka Mr. Trill Hunter Mill. We're going to talk about that Vergil Ortiz and Michael Mckinson fight, and is he ready for a Terence Crawford, ERROL Spence, or JARON Ennis? So we're going to talk about that in this video. It's About Time with Rashawn's About Time Boxing, aka Mr. Trill Hunter Mill. What's up to my About Time Boxing family and the Trill Hunter Mill gang? Thank you to every single one of y'all who has been taking out the time to watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, and leave the comments. If you have not already subscribed to the channel and you're watching this video or any of my videos for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Encourage others to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that notification button to stay up on the latest with Rashawn's About Time Boxing. Please subscribe to and support Rebel Life Boxing, Mark Nash Boxing, Musically Zone Always Talk Boxing, Nate's Boxing Nation, YSM, E Thriller, Expert Genius, Isaiah Tilson. I know I'm leaving somebody out, but they'll all be in the description box below. Oh, Bud Crawford beats Easy Route Spence. Yeah, that's the other one. So please subscribe to all of those channels too. You won't be disappointed with the content. Content is always on point. I rock with those guys. So yeah, subscribe to those channels too. All right, so of course, I always give a shout out to my listening audience and the people that listen to and support me. So I'm gonna try to run this down real quick. Marvelous Williams, Kofi's Universe, Wentworth Richardson, Fit Addiction 369, Willie Bateman, High Consciousness, BJ Bobo, The Key, Tone Money, Fresh Prez, The Expert Genius, Chin Checkin, Ilmon's Revolver, Juice Lee, Jonathan McGovern, Reginald Oglesby, Real Deal, John Doughboy, Benjamin Bryan Jr., Raw Dog, my cousin Ish, Big Bro Sharif, my uncle Tiandre, Perry Robinson, B. Romero, Sub-Zero, Bandil, Flame on 24, J. Petty, Kev C, High Queen, my Aunt Donna Robinson, love you Auntie, Derek Wiltz, Roselle Monroe, Muhammad Mirage, Joseph Bailey, Nefera Sesha Bay, Holly Thompson, and I think it's Steph Steph. Appreciate y'all. All right, so let's get into this Vergil Ortiz and Michael Mckinson. Let's talk about the fight. So he stopped him in the 9th round. Okay, I said between 4 and 7, but he got him, 2 rounds later. But nonetheless, he did what I expected him to do, and what everybody else expected him to do, which was stop Michael Mckinson, improving his record to 19-0 and 19 knockouts, still giving him 100% knockout ratio. But now in the first round, for those of y'all who saw the fight, in the first round, you can see that Michael Mckinson came out. He came out aggressive. And I don't think Vergil Ortiz was expecting that. So the one thing that Vergil Ortiz said after the fight, when he was doing his in-ring interview after the fight, he said that he had to make adjustments, and which he did. He had to make adjustments, and I call those necessary adjustments. But nonetheless, he had that little layoff, and when he was sick, or I think it was due to COVID or something like that, and so the fight was postponed, and then now they made it for it was Saturday, August 6th they fought. All right, now watching the fight though, now first, all right, I did a video before, so we already got it established that Michael Mckinson, he's 22-0. Well, 22-1 now, still with 2 knockouts. Okay, so in the video that I did, talking about, the fight before it happened, was the fact that, Michael Mckinson, he couldn't do anything to keep Vergil Ortiz up off of him. He couldn't do anything to keep Vergil Ortiz up off of him. And at some point in the fight, as the round started going on, you started seeing Virgil just started walking him down. And it was even, of course they had an accidental headbutt. Can't remember what round it was, but referee said accidental headbutt. He had a little cut, but they got that under control, so it wasn't a factor in the fight. But during the fight, you could see that, Vergil Ortiz got comfortable with the fact that he knew that Michael Mckinson didn't have any power and wasn't a threat to hurting him at any point in that fight. Because there were times where Vergil Ortiz, dropped his hands, you know what I mean? He was square. And as opposed to cutting the ring off, like, when you get a fighter, when you're trying to, walk a fighter down, you don't just, you don't follow him. You cut the ring off. And it was moments in the fight where, he just was following him because he knew he couldn't hurt him. So he just, just basically was just like, following him, with his hands down at times, and then catching him with shots. Now, in the intro, I said, now we're going to talk about, is he ready for JARON, Ennis, Terence Crawford, or even an ERROL Spence? Now, based on the way he performed against Michael Mckinson, I would say he would need at least maybe another 2 fights, maybe 3, before he's ready for a JARON Ennis, a Terence Crawford, or even an ERROL Spence. Because he made, like I said, some of the things that I saw Vergil Ortiz doing in that fight, can't do that against a JARON Ennis, or against an ERROL Spence, or a Terence Crawford. You know what I mean? And Terence Crawford, and JARON Ennis, they switch hitters. You see what I'm saying? So, and there were times in the fight where Michael Mckinson, actually, caught Vergil Ortiz with a couple good shots. You know what I mean? And I'm not, I'm not saying that Virgil don't have a chin. I'm not saying that, but Michael Mckinson doesn't have any power. So somebody, with some real power, would have to catch him clean in order to see, if he could, take some big shots. But like I said, some of the things that I saw him doing in the fight, because as the rounds went on and he started walking Mckinson down, he was being careless at points in the fight. Now, if y'all watch the fight, y'all know what I'm talking about. In the moments that I'm talking about, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. There was times he was just walking to him with his hands down, and you know what I mean. And and even though Mckinson didn't have no power, he still, would catch him, sometimes in them exchanges. And then Ortiz, a few times was exchanging with Mckinson. But the only reason he exchanged with Mckinson was because of the 2 knockouts. I guarantee you, had that been anybody else and the scouting report was different and they got some power or got just as many knockouts as he has, like he has a 100% knockout ratio, even though he has 19 fights now because he knocked out everybody that he fought. And JARON Ennis is 29-0 with 27 knockouts. So if JARON Ennis didn't beat 2 of his opponents by decision, he would have a 100% knockout ratio. Because he would be 27-0 with 27 knockouts. Still way more fight. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is, I don't think right now that Vergil Ortiz is ready for a JARON Ennis or a Terence Crawford or ERROL Spence. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that he's not going to be, because I think he's the WBO interim or intercontinental champion or something like that. But, and because he had that layoff, so he would need, like I said, to me, 2 or 3 more fights. He definitely has the skill. He has the heart. You know what I mean? He has the will to want to win. But he has to tighten up on his defense. He definitely has to tighten up on his defense. He has some flaws defensively. And I'm not saying that, you know, every fighter, you know, is going to have an impeccable, you know, defensive, you know, skill set. But some are better than others. And Vergil Ortiz has to work on his defense. That's, you know, that's all that I'm saying. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a talented fighter. He's, you know, even though he's 19-0, he's definitely one of the best welterweights in the division. He is for sure. And, you know, in fact, you know, ERROL Spence, Terence Crawford, JARON Ennis, and Vergil Ortiz. In fact, I expect all of them, you know, to beat all of the opposition that they get in the ring with until any combination or some combination of them 4 fight each other. That's, you know what I mean? Because that's just what's going to happen. You know, skill set is too high. Ring IQ is too high. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. You know, do y'all think Vergil Ortiz is ready? Or JARON Ennis or Spence or Crawford right now? Or do y'all think he need maybe another 2 fights, possibly 3? You know what I mean? I'm not saying, like, of course he can get in there, but I mean to be at his best against those guys, because I just don't see him, especially listen, I mean, JARON Ennis and his team was clear that they would love to take that fight right now. But Virgil and them saying, you know, down the line, you know, and all that type of stuff, you know what I mean? So, I mean, in 2019 and 2020, they was talking about it. That's when Robert Garcia was training him. And Robert Garcia was like, oh, Vergil Ortiz and knock Boots Ennis out. But then soon as Vergil Ortiz, you know, left Robert Garcia to get with another trainer, now all of a sudden he talking about, oh, you know, it'll be a good fight, you know, Boots is skilled and this, that, and the third and all that. But when he was training him, you know, and I get it, that's your fighter at the time, so yeah, you going back him. But see, that's the thing, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be biased about it. If Vergil Ortiz fight JARON Ennis right now, it's possible the fight can go 12 rounds, but I got JARON Ennis stopping him. Midway to late in the fight, Boots is going to stop. He would stop Vergil Ortiz if they fought right now. Honestly, I mean, this skill set, experience is just way too different. So that's what I'm saying, like, he need, you know, and a lot of people want to see a build-up to them fighting too. That's why people want to see it further down the line. You know, they both, you know, get some belts and all that type of stuff, you know. Raise the stakes a little bit. You know, a lot of people feel like if they fight each other now and they just fighting just because that's what we, you know what I mean, the boxing public want to see. But there's really nothing, you know, involved for them other than money. But there's no titles and nothing else, you know, at stake other than their O's. But, you know what I'm saying? But you got JARON Ennis who's willing to fight anybody. He said it. You've never heard about JARON Ennis turning down a fight from anybody or saying, oh, well, I think that fight could happen later down the line. No, you know what I mean? Even when he talked about him fighting Gary Russell's brother, when they fought in the amateurs, I think, or the Olympic quarterfinals. You know what I'm saying? And I think Boots beat him once, and I think he beat Boots, you know, once or twice or something like that in the Olympic quarterfinals. And, you know, but Boots said, yeah, even when Boots turned pro, he said, yeah, he'll fight him too. But Gary Russell brother said the same thing that Virgil and him said. Oh, it's going to be, you know, that fight will be later down the line. But when you hear JARON Ennis talk, he said, look, I'll fight anybody, anytime. And no, I do not put Keith Thurman in that equation when I said JARON Ennis, Vergil Ortiz, ERROL Spence, and Terence Crawford. No, because they'll beat him too. And I think that Vergil Ortiz would beat Keith Thurman. I think he would beat Keith Thurman. I mean, Thurman fought Mario Barrios at 47 and couldn't hurt him or even knock him down in the fight. Tank came up, you know what I mean, from 130 to 140 to fight Barrios. Tank fought at 130, 135, you know, he came up to 140. Fighting at 135 now. He fought Rolly Romero at 135, but, you know, Tank fought at 130 before, 135. and he fought Barrios at 140, and he stopped Barrios. Thurman couldn't do that. So one time, you know what I'm saying, is not one time. So, but like I said, you know, I expect, you know, JARON Ennis, Vergil Ortiz, ERROL Spence, Terence Crawford. I expect all those 4 guys to beat everybody that they step in the ring with, even if the opposition is Keith Thurman, until any combination of those 4 start to lock, you know, start to lock with each other. And just don't mention Adrian Broner, because Adrian Broner would lose to any one of those guys. Let Adrian Broner and Keith Thurman fight each other. Let them fight. But I think Broner's still trying to campaign at 140, and he's still trying to get his mind right. So, but anyway, drop the comments in the comment section below. Let me know how y'all feel about the Vergil Ortiz Michael Mckinson fight. Let me know how y'all feel about it. How y'all think Virgil did? I mean, I thought overall he did give a good performance. Overall, I felt like Vergil Ortiz did put on a good performance, but against higher caliber of talent, some of the mistakes that I seen him make defensively and otherwise, he can't do that against those type of guys, because they will be able to exploit it and capitalize on it fast. That's all that I'm saying. So, I mean, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop the comments in the comment section below. Again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification button to stay up on the latest with Rashawn's Bob Time Boxing. That's all I got for now. Until the next one. Peace.